This is less than 10.7. So we know that we can graph lines if we know the equation of those. So if I wanted to graph a straight line, I know that the standard form, not standard form, but the most common form equation would be y equals mx plus b. And that would show us a straight line, right? M is the slope, b is the y-intercept. Whereas if I wanted to draw a parabola or a U-shaped graph that is quadratic, there's a lot of ways we could write that, but what we would call vertex form that doesn't look right, and nope, plus k, that's why it doesn't look right. And h comma k would have represented the vertex of our quadratic parabola graph. If I want to graph a circle, there's also an equation. So the equation of a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And h comma k is the center, and r is the radius. Notice that it's minus in both of these. So if I already have the equation, I'm really taking the opposite signs for the center. And if I'm trying to write the equation, I'm putting the opposite signs in from the center. All right, so here is our standard equation of a circle. So let's write the equation of a circle with a center at 1, -8 and a radius of 7. So this is my h and my k out of x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So that's going to be x minus 1 squared plus y minus -8 squared equals 7 squared. I'm not done. I would never leave a minus and negative. I would never leave something that could still be squared. So I'm going to rewrite this as x minus 1 squared plus y plus 8 squared equals 49. And now that's as simplified as I need to get it. I'm done. That's the equation of that circle. Let's look at example 2. I want to write the equation of the circle shown. So I do need to pinpoint my center, which everything's going by 2's on this graph. So the center is -2, 0. And if it's going by 2's, the radius would be 2, 4. So if I want to write the equation of the circle, that's going to be x minus -2 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals 4 squared. Let's simplify what we can. So that's going to be x plus 2 squared. Y minus 0 is just y, so we could write just plus y squared. There's nothing to add or subtract to it. Equals 16. And that's the equation of that circle. Let's write the equation of a circle with a center at the origin, and the radius is square root of 10. So the origin is 0, 0. So that means we're doing x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals the square root of 10 squared. So x minus 0 is just x, y minus 0 is just y, and the square root of 10 squared is 10. So you go ahead and try these, pause, answers are posted online. Example 4, let's write the equation of a circle with a center at -3, -5 that passes through the point 1, 2. So I'm going to write out that whole equation again, because the center is -3, -5. So that means we know h and k. And it's passing through another point, and all points are written as x comma y. So the thing we don't know right now is the r squared. We can plug everything else into our equation. So that's going to be 1 minus -3 squared plus 2 minus -5 squared equals r squared. So we're going to have 4 squared plus 7 squared equals r squared. And that gives me 65 equals r squared. It's not asking me for r. It's asking me for the equation. So I do not need to convert this r squared into r, because I know the equation wants r squared in it. So when I go back to write my equation, I'm going to go back and put the regular letters x and y, but I'm still going to keep the plus 3 and the plus 5. And now it just equals r squared, which was 65. Let's graph this circle. So they're giving me the standard form equation, which means I know the center is the opposites of what they're showing me. The center will be -4, -5. And if 16 is equal to r squared, then the radius is really 4. When we want to graph a circle, we're going to start by plotting our center, -4, -5. And then we're going to put 4 different dots that are 4 spaces away for our radius. So we're going to go 4 up, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go 4 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 down, 1, 2, 3, 4. And 4 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I'm going to do my best to connect them in a circular fashion. I'm not going to go straight lines because that would look like a square. The bigger the radius, the harder it is to make it look nice. Ooh, that was pretty terrible, but we could still tell that it's a circle. So we're going to move on with our life. So you can go ahead and try this one. Pause if you'd like. Answers are posted online. If we want to rewrite in standard form, that means we're given the equation, but it's not written in the form that we want. This is the same as if I was given, say, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, and I really wanted it to be y equals mx plus b instead. There's going to have to be some things you do to get from one form to the other. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the constant alone. Whatever whole number that they have, we're going to stick it on one side by itself, and the x squareds, x's, y's, y squareds, they're all going to stay on the other side. We're going to cut the x term and the y term in half. Not anything to do with the squared, the ones that just have x and y. We're going to stick those numbers inside parentheses with the correct variable. So when I cut the x in half, I'm going to put the number in with the x. When I cut the y in half, I'm going to put the number in with the y. And I'm going to add those numbers squared to the constant side. This is called completing the square. There's a big, long process that we're really doing here, but we don't need to understand the process to do this. We just need to be able to follow these steps. So if I want to rewrite this equation in standard form, and then we're also going to identify the center and radius when we're done, the constant is already alone, so I don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to start by cutting the x term in half, and we get -5. So inside parentheses with x, we have -5. And I need to add this number squared, -5 squared, to the constant side. So we're going to add 25 over there. Now I'll cut the y term in half. Half of 2 is +1, so that's y plus 1. Now I need to add 1 squared to this side. So this side is really 4 plus 25 plus 1, or 30. So that is my equation now in standard form. The center, just like we went when we graphed it, the center from standard form are the opposite signs. So the opposite signs for my center will be 5, -1. 30 is still the radius squared. So if r squared equals 30, take the square root. R is the square root of 30. So there we are for that problem. Another one we'll do together. So right now the constant's not alone, so I need to move it over. So x squared plus y squared plus 8y equals 2. There is no x term to cut in half, so when I go to do parentheses, x squared will just stay x squared. There is a y term to cut in half, so I'm going to get y with a +4 inside, but I have to make sure I add that 4 squared to this, so we're going to add 16. So now really this side is 18. So there's my standard form equation. Let's identify the center and radius. Center was nothing with the x squared, so that's a 0, and that's a -4, opposite sign. And my radius will be the square root of 18. If you want to reduce that, we could have written it as 3 radical 2, but I'm also okay with you just saying the square root of 18. Here are the last two for you to try. You can pause or end the video. Answers are posted online. But that is the end of section 10.7.